What's going on, people? Welcome back. KG is here. Listen, people, club football is on its way back. It's just around the corner. So subscribe, like, turn on the bell for notifications, because sometimes I plan going live, sometimes I go live impromptu. But I want to interact with the people. I want to talk to subscribers. I want to know your thoughts and feelings on transfers that have happened or haven't happened. I want to know your thoughts on the season ahead. And we'll be doing that very, very soon. So yeah, turn on the bell, subscribe to the channel. Until then, though, we're going to talk about what happened last night. It was England versus Italy, Euro final, 1-1 after extra time. Italy take the championship 3-2 on penalties. There's a lot to unpack in this one. Me generally, as you would have seen on this channel, I was back in Germany and France. I thought that they had excellent opportunities to advance and win. Myself personally, with the England football team, I've never felt connected to the England football team, like ever. You know, whether that be because of the nature of the fans that you see, it's not very nice, and you saw it again last night, before and after the game. You know, it's just not it's a hard country to root for if you don't feel connected to it. I'll just put it that way. But another big reason for me was just I never felt connected to the players. And it's not that I need a hello and a handshake, say hello, support me, I play for England. It's more of the selections of previous managers. And I'm talking about selection of players where they just shoehorned in players because of the club they play for. You'd have people like Nicky Butt playing for England while he was at Man United just because he's at Man United. Things like that. You know, Stuart Downing on the left because he can kick a ball with his left foot. And for me, that just don't make no sense. You know what I mean? It's like, I can't root for these guys. I don't feel nothing for these guys. You know, they do their best to play all the best players instead of playing the correct team. And for all of Gareth Southgate's faults, and he does have some, what Gareth Southgate did more so for me this tournament, I didn't really feel it in 18, but I felt it in this one, man. I felt that he really tried to get everyone together. I thought that he built an excellent team spirit, and you could see that through the camp. You could see how the players were talking. They were enjoying it being there. They were enjoying being on each other's company. Even players that are on opposite teams in the Champions League final just a few weeks ago are looking good. They're looking good with each other. And that wasn't always the case with this team. So last night, when England lost, I actually felt sorry for them. You know what I mean? And I've never felt sorry for England when they've gone out of a tournament, like ever. But I felt for them yesterday. Not bad like I did when we, Leeds United, lost against Derby in the playoff semi-final. Never felt that bad. That was a week-long, don't talk to me, despair. I'm in a deep funk. Let me lay in my bed. I don't want to talk to the world. That was a different kind of, because I felt that one to my core. But I felt for the guys yesterday, man. Declan Rice, you know, Rashford, Sancho, Saka, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. But even Gareth Southgate, for all his faults, I like what the guy's about. I do like what the guy's about with his principles and everything like that. He's a very, you can see he's a very intelligent guy. He's trying to do the right thing. But, you know, England came up short. And, you know, I haven't read any think pieces about it. I don't read the papers. This is all from my opinion. So I really want to hear from you guys in the comments too about your thoughts on the tournament. But all the way through, I was thinking, this is okay from England. This will probably do until you get to an organised juggernaut, and it might just not be enough. And we saw it yesterday. England started out absolutely brilliant. Luke Shaw, who's been amazing, opened the scoring after a couple minutes, and you're thinking, right, okay, this might have the Italians on the back foot. Keep doing what you're doing now. But every single time, and you see it with England over and over again, because of the way that he sets up, the team just retreat. They love taking breaks. They retreat in every time, and it happened again. Like, England didn't capitalize on that early lead, the early momentum. They could have really put it to Italy at that point. And this is what it is for Southgate. And I think I said it on here with Tobes, or on a stream with Matisse. I don't know where I said it, but England is the only country that would have an absolute world-class talent like Jack Grealish and not start him. And for me, it don't make no sense. Jack Grealish is not a super sub. He should not be used as such. People saying he's an impact player, yeah, and he can impact the game from the start. What he also does is he holds the ball and keeps you going up the pitch, which did not happen yesterday after maybe, 25 minutes? That just didn't happen. I'm a big Mason Mount fan, so, and it annoys me that you have to always preface something with, I like this, because you're about to give it some criticism. I hate that, but that's the world we're in, right? But Mason Mount, for me, did diddly squat all tournament. The Mason Mount that I seen for Derby and for Chelsea is more playmaking with the ball. He's more aggressive up into the second bit of the pitch, the final third of the pitch. He was anonymous in these games. He really was. And it just makes you think, you could have taken out Mount, kept your two defensive midfielders, because he's never going to deviate from that, and give Grealish a lot more minutes than he got. And it's just like, it's things like that. You've got the attacking players at your disposal, and he doesn't use them. And that, for me, I know Gareth Southgate is going to stay on, but that's got to change. You have to change that. You cannot keep on going with a back five. Not when you've got the attacking players at your disposal. England haven't had this kind of natural ability in their team for a long, long time. They talk about that golden generation. That was no golden generation, man. That was just a lot of very, very good players and a couple world-class players, all just stuffed into one team and hope for the best and make it work. Oh, sometimes I'm going to play Gerrard on the left. Sometimes Down is going to play on the left. Lampard's going to drop back. It was just a whole concoction of mess when you really break it down, yeah? This team has actually got the tools to be an attacking force and then put the game to bed. Because for all the faults that people say Harry Maguire's got, and I'm one of them, I don't think he's as world-class as people believe he is, but he's a very, very capable defender at international level. You can rely on him. You can rely on John Stones. You can rely on Kyle Walker. You've actually got a good base to rely on. Luke Shaw as well, coming up in the last 18 months. There is a lot to rely on there, rather than just adding another defender, Trippier, two defensive midfielders. You got to take the shackles off them. And this was my thing throughout the tournament. I said it's going to be good enough, just like it was at the World Cup. You can do it against Tunisia. You can do it against Colombia. You can do it against all these teams. But when you come up against an Italian machine that you saw, unbeaten in 33, you don't get unbeaten in 33 games for no reason. Let's just put it like that. The way that England fans were talking, they were acting like Italy were just going to be easy food. You don't get unbeaten like that for no reason. Mancini is a superb coach. And I said it on Twitter, and I was kind of tongue-in-cheek, but I was kind of a little serious as well. Like the group games for Italy, they kind of reminded me a bit of Leeds United. Just that relentless press. You know, people say that we haven't got the star names, but you do have actually, you know, some very, very good players in there. It just reminded me a bit of Leeds sometimes when I was watching Italy play, just a relentless play. And that's just it for England, man. They're not relentless with it. And then you saw towards the end of 90 minutes when England were pegged in, I think it was 90 minutes, could have been extra time, but Harry Maguire gets the ball. There's zero person over the halfway line for him to pass it to, and he just ends up slicing it out of play under no pressure. Things like that you've got to correct. And is Southgate the guy to do it? I hope so. I hope that he looks at this and says, you know what, I've got weapons like Jack Grealish in my arsenal. I've got to use him. I've got to use a world-class player in my team. But if he's going to keep on reverting to this, I don't know if it's going to be successful for England. I really don't. And then you go to the penalties. You know, guys, let me know your thoughts on how Southgate set up. Are you happy with that? Do you think that that's going to get the job done in the World Cup? Do you think that he could take the shackles off a few of the players? Because, you know, people have been criticising Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips, whichever game it is, that whichever one seems to be the quietest on that day. But Declan Rice was superb when he was on the pitch yesterday. Declan Rice was breaking stuff up, driving with the ball, and he got taken off for Jordan Henderson, who Liverpool fans would have you believe should have been starting the final, but no, he shouldn't. And, you know, I don't think it's an indictment on him that he got subbed on, subbed off. It happened to Grealish, but when he came on, he didn't control the ball like I think Gareth Southgate thought he would. In fact, he passed the ball out to the side for a throw-in twice under no pressure. So, I mean, this is hindsight talking, of course. We're all Monday morning quarterbacking, but it it was just frustrating to see, because as the game was going on, I honestly had no horse in the race at the start of the game. I was like, you know what, I'd be very, very happy for Grealish, Saka, Phillips, and everyone else like that, Rice, to lift this trophy. Italy, I can understand if they win it, because they've been superb all tournament. They play some really, really good stuff, and their goalkeeper is one of my favourites in the game, Donnarumma. Just an absolute colossal in goal. So I was even, but as the game was going on, I was in it, man. I felt it for England. I was like, oh, you know what? I hope they do win it, man. I don't care about those, that noisy minority that are, really stink up the England fan base. I'm gonna cheer on these boys, man. I'm gonna hope that they win it. And I was there with you guys. I was there with the England fans. I was like, yes, come on. But it wasn't to be. And the penalty shootout, there's been so many different thoughts. We was talking in the group chat, and different thoughts about Saka taking the fifth penalty. It's a tough one, man, for me, because the way I see it is, if you're good and if you're old enough, you're good enough. If you're good enough, you're old enough. Whichever way you want to put it. But for me, there's red flags there. There was red flags when I saw Saka stepping up. First of all, I didn't recall seeing Saka ever take a penalty. And I had to ask some of my Arsenal fans. I said, has Saka ever taken a penalty in a game before? I've never seen this guy take one. I've seen Maitland-Niles take one and then do that cheeky grin as he looks back at the goalkeeper. But I don't recall Saka ever having done it. And I think this is where you're going to get a little heat for Gareth Southgate. Because I recalled straight away Pedri. Absolute diamond now for Spain. He's the future of Spanish football. Pedri of Barcelona. They were coming up to having a penalty shootout, and Luis Enrique said, "No, you're coming off. Someone more experienced is coming on." And what he's done, like, he knows that Pedri could score, but he also knows that he might not, and he knows that the effects of not scoring it outweigh the effects of scoring it for that player in particular. And he took him off. He took Pedri off. Pedri is gone. But you didn't see Pedri in the penalty shootout, because he's protecting his young guys. He's protecting his crown jewel of the Spanish team. And maybe Southgate could have done that. He's saying that he's responsible for the penalties. There must have been a plan, of course. But when you've got that penalty, that's sudden death from there. So maybe you need to change the order and tell one of your more experienced heads to step up and take that penalty. Don't leave it on that young kid, because, I hope nothing happens to Saka from it in terms of his football. I just recall when Beckham got sent off, and that season after was an absolute horror show for Beckham. Not on the pitch, he was David Beckham on the pitch. I'm talking about the abuse off the pitch. I'm talking about whenever he touched the ball at away grounds, he'd get booed because of the World Cup thing. It was an absolute mess. And I just hope Saka don't get that from rival fans, because you don't deserve for missing that penalty. It could have been anybody. It's a lottery. The thing for me when I saw Rashford, Sancho and Saka miss, was the first thought I had was, yep, there's going to be a lot of racism in their messages. And lo and behold, it happened. You only need to give racists a little reason, and they're out in full force, But I'm sure when Sterling was bagging all the goals, setting up all the goals, it was, yeah, Raheem, yeah. But, we know how this story goes, so we don't even need to get into that. But the fact that my first thought was on those three guys, I'm thinking, God damn, it's going to be a long, long summer for them on social media. It shows you exactly a little bit more why I don't feel or didn't feel fully connected to England. It's because of things like that. It shouldn't happen, but it does. We're living in the real world. We know it will happen. But hopefully that those guys are headstrong enough not to listen to it, not to listen to these people. I saw a lot of the abuse as well. Again, as always, faceless accounts, faceless ones with, Jono 5369 510 15 million numbers at the end. Pace season Neymar with a picture of Neymar or something. It's just the usual accounts. It's never their faces. And that's why I just hope that these guys don't take it to heart. But Guys, what did you think about the penalty situation? Did you think that someone else should have taken one instead of Saka? Do you think that another experienced head could have taken one? I've heard Sterling, Grealish, but there was other players on there as well that could have stepped up. There's a few other players on there that could have stepped up in their place. It's, guys, I mean, it's, you know, it was a tough one, man. Like I say, I felt for the guys. I actually felt something. I'll say it again, I've never ever felt bad for the England football team when they've crashed out of tournaments, ever. Not once. Until yesterday, I actually felt bad for these current players. So again, Southgate's faults, that's a real big positive that he's got. Because if he's got a head like me feeling bad for the England football team, I can imagine he's done it for other people too who probably didn't feel connected to the team. And that's another thing as well. If Southgate was to go, which I know he's not, I heard that he's going to stay, I'd be worried about the England football team going back to type again, where you just shoehorn in Liverpool, Man United players just because of the club they pay for. All of a sudden, you're not going to see Declan Rice, you're not going to see Calvin Phillips, but you're going to see Curtis Jones because he gets 30 minutes a season at Liverpool. You know, you're going to see, you know, Nat Phillips come in because he's a centre-back at Liverpool currently. You don't want it to go back to that, because that is how you feel disconnected from the team, because it don't make sense. You know, and we saw that for years. You don't want to go back to that. You got other English players working their tails off all season long, only just to get snubbed. You know, you don't want to see that again. So hopefully Gareth takes lessons from this one and just takes the shackles off just a bit, because these guys are more than capable. These players are more than capable, much more than in previous generations. So, but yeah, guys, listen, I'm going to end the video there. Please give me your thoughts and opinions on the whole England tournament. Do you feel it was a good tournament, or are you at the stage where you say you've come second, but what is second? You know, I kind of get that. I'm a bit like that, but I think the players can be proud of what they achieved in the tournament. But I think when they do look back on it, I think there will be a lot of regret in that they didn't do more than that, what they are capable of, because they're definitely capable of doing more, especially in that final. Italy, you know, a word on Italy, they dictated that game. You know, from the 30th minute, from around the 30th minute, they were just on the ball, passing it. You know, Verratti was he was orchestrating that midfield like something rotten. Chiesa was an ISO live wire. Anytime he got the ball, he was looking to get in the box. He was dribbling past people for fun. Donnarumma, as I said, absolute giant. I mean, PSG, I want to take a quick word on PSG, because they're rumoured to sign him and on a free transfer. That's crazy, you know. But PSG next season, you know, they've added Ronaldo. They've already got Mbappe, Neymar, Hakimi, Donnarumma. And I'm sure I'm missing somebody else. But they're building a very, very good team. So look out for them in the Champions League. But yeah, Italy for me, well deserved. I got to give a word for Chiellini, because I know, you know, as you would have seen, you know, we talked with Tottenham fan Tobes about him. He wanted to see Harry Kane dunk on Chiellini. But Chiellini is one of those old school veteran defenders that I just enjoy watching. When you saw Saka go around, do you know how many players would have just let Saka go and hope for the best, hope that the covering defenders would have got him? Chiellini says, nah, not today. Dragged that boy back like he was a naughty kid in school. It was mad. I was cracking up. Saka was frustrated, obviously, because he'd have been away, but man, I was in tears, man. That is old school defending. You know, you got Bonucci, you know, he's a bit suspect for me because of the whole Moise Kean thing, but he's got that old school mentality. You know, it's coming Rome. He's like, it's coming Rome. And he's, you know, biting the medal as he's getting it. He's, you know, giving it all that. Me personally, I love characters in football, so I hope that never goes away. We have moved away from it now. These players are a lot more media savvy, a lot more cleaner, trained and everything. But I love that kind of stuff. So shout out to Chiellini and you know, on a lesser note, Bonucci, because, you know, he's a bit suspect. You know, I don't forget that Moise Kean thing, but I love the antics. So. But yeah, guys, listen, I've rambled on. I'm rambling here. Well, I'm not really rambling. I'm just giving props to the boys down in Italy. But yeah, give me your thoughts and opinions in the comments. Please let me know. Like, subscribe. Remember, turn on the bell for when I go live. Like I say, it can be impromptu, but it can be planned. You just never know with me. But until the next video, guys, peace.